You said you ate what today?
I ate spinach and...
You don't ever go to work and eat a whole meal. Hours ago?
I know.
Listen to my recordings today. Pajamas.
Pajamas. I don't even know what to say.
I don't have anything to say to you. You got something to say to them.
Okay. So I quit my job.
I just found out.
Hey girl.
Welcome back.
Oh,
I'm
how did
like,
I get here?
that's Taylor.
And that's Abby.
And she quit her job, y'all.
I did.
Let me get comfortable.
So last video we had a long talk
We did.
about how I felt mistreated and abused. And so I went home that night. And after some long thought and consideration, I decided to not go back the next day. I feel a little bad. Don't make that face, girl. I was bored, and when I was working, I was getting like criticized for it. So I decided.
I'm just so all a proud face. Should you be proud of your best friend for quitting their job? But this is all like a vicariously living through proud and just still in shock. She's been out of the job for almost a whole week and she ain't said not a thing to me.
Because I had to get my life together. So the thing is,
What else didn't you tell me?
have another job. Too bad we're not celebrating Halloween this year because I would have to be Tyra Banks Barbie where she like did every job ever. You remember that? What was the show called?
Was it the movie Life Size?
Yeah, Life Size. I would have to be Life Size because
I am in.
I want to know what I do now for this month. So this one,
See, I asked you.
I want to be more serious.
I asked her. I told her in my and I told her like, I really don't think I ever want to start over again. Like, do I really want to be working right now?
Yeah.
So I was to the point where I didn't want. If you hear noises, my cat is just I gotta play with her toys right now. Her scratch and post. Just telling Taylor a few weeks ago, I don't really ever want to have to start over. Like that. It's so funny how we're so similar and opposite at the same time. Like we were talking about the idolizing thing, having things that you idol more than God. We were talking about that. Similar but different, but also similar. We don't really want to be working, but different. I don't ever want to have to like apply and like get hired for and do the starting process again. And when I told her that,
either,
but you were like, it is what it is. I'll do it. You were not.
I remember during the voice recording, I'm like, if this doesn't work out, I'm just gonna start over and go somewhere else. Like, because if it's not peaceful, I'm leaving. Because again, that's what I'm on a search for. That's my journey right now. And if it's not peaceful, I'm leaving. I gotta go, y'all.
Speaking of which, we did a video a couple months ago about our goals for the year. And we were going to follow up on our goals. And she knew this whole time she had something in her back pocket that was way more interesting than going over the goals. And one of her goals, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's
infinite peace.
Infinite peace. And I think she's doing great on that goal. Because she's infinitely searching. She definitely
relax.
She's going. Well, I want to say that she's not necessarily relaxed.
Not really, because I still have.
You're starting your job, yeah. But have you found the Bible verse?
I think so. So far,
what's on your heart?
I think it's
say what you know. What is the Holy Spirit telling you?
And just to summarize it, it's about like putting faith in God, say a prayer for it, and release it to God. Like you have to let it go. You're gonna, of course, do the work that you can do, but you say your prayer and you let it go.
I got a word for you.
Okay, go.
There's a story in the Bible about one of the kings who it wasn't David, but it was one of the kings who was like being attacked and threatened by like another king who had literally murdered a bunch of different people.
Yeah.
And when I was listening to a sermon on it, it was the point that like that king that was murdering other people had already killed a bunch of people. Was like, I'm coming for you next.
This is
that the same one? Maybe it's the same story.
The Book of Esther, because who was it?
Oh, I don't remember his name.
what's her
H?
cousin's name? Mordecai.
Mordecai.
It wasn't about him like being threatened that way, I don't think, but it was basically about him not getting his reward for telling the king that he was going to be assassinated or killed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, who was it? What's his name?
Haman.
Haman got rewarded first somehow. I don't know what happened, and then like he had to wait until later on.
You've been reading the book of Esther.
Yes, this is my last. I don't know if you got to my last recording.
I was almost there.
I woke up. God has been waking me up like at random times in the morning, 2, 4 in the morning. And instead of getting on TikTok, Abby sent me a lovely study guide and it's been helping me out. So
who is my girl?
And
y'all can't have my best friend. I'm gonna tell you right now, she's taken.
Even I was listening, like on my way here, I was listening to the radio and they were talking about like meditation and taking moments to like really free your mind or relax yourself and not, because I would usually try to distract myself until I go back to sleep with like turning on the TV, watching a million TikToks, doing anything to just like distract myself from realizing that I'm up, I'm alone, I'm sitting here in my thoughts, like I would do anything, but lately I've been using my study guide and reading the Bible.
You read that Bible study, girl?
Yes, I did. So I'm
On
on
the book of
chapter
Esther.
8 in the book of Esther in the Bible,
That's so
and I'm also
interesting.
using the
It's a
study guide at the same time, and I'm on like day 5 now. So yes, it is very helpful, and it's things that you wouldn't even, or it would take you a few times to catch.
But it
with
helps
just
you to
reading
catch
along,
it.
But it helps me to catch it, and that was one of
And
the
apply it
things.
to
Like he
yourself.
just. What's his name? Mordecai just had to wait until it was his time to be praised and rewarded. And he put his faith in God and he waited for his time. He knew it would come, but he didn't like put emphasis on that happening. So
and in that story I was talking about too, that when you said like lay it down at God, basically the king that was afraid to get taken over by this other king that was basically taunting him, like, I'm gonna come murder you next. See all the other people I done killed. He read the letter and he took it up to God and he laid it at God's feet. And then the pastor pointed out, what did he do next? He prayed and he left it. He said, did he pick it back up?
No.
Did he complain about it? Did he cry? Did he go back up and read it 7 times? And did he go and question God? No, he laid it and he left it and he walked away. And that was it. And I think about that too all the time, where it's like, how many times do you pray and cry about the same thing? Instead of, what is the next thing God telling you to do? Is he waking you up at certain times of the day and telling you to do X, Y, and Z? Like, are we even doing the next step as opposed to just like complaining about it? But girl, who is this girl?
I know, and I've been thinking too, like, I know we discussed in the last video, like, what is the meaning of all of this? And for a while, with going from job to job and going kind of down in positions and down in pay, I'm like, maybe this is like teaching me that because I'm saying so much like, oh, I don't worry about money, this and that, and it's showing me like that I can make it off of less, or that I need to be true to those words, but I don't think that's it. I think it's just having faith, like losing a position or walking away from a position and having that time where I don't know what's going to happen. I'm applying for new jobs, I have to interview again. I think I just truly have to have faith in those moments, and it's so hard because you have to connect your mental and your body, like everything has to be connected, because you can feel it like on you can feel nervous about something, or mentally it could, like, you could constantly eat at you, and like you'll feel like, oh, you quit this is your last time you'll ever get a job, like nobody's gonna hire you next time as quickly. But if you let it go, I pray to God, and honestly the other reason why I didn't contact anybody or tell anybody as fast is because I needed that time to like just
process it.
Yeah, sit with that myself, and I didn't want to be reminded of it too much because I prayed to God and I had to let it go. So I interviewed. When did I interview? Maybe 2 days ago now. And I got the position. I am a receptionist at an animal hospital. I'm the 30-year-old receptionist, you guys.
God is hilarious. If you watched our previous videos, what was the one we did where we said...
Was that like one of our first or second?
It was probably like either the first or second video. We talked about how there was a girl that I used to work with when we were in college, and we were receptionists at an animal... Well, I was a receptionist at an animal hospital, and I was telling Taylor, like, this is 30-year-old girl that's just there. Like, what is she doing with her life?
Yes.
Like, we're a bunch of college kids, about to graduate, move on with our lives, and she's like 30, still just doing this. Like, what is she doing with her life?
And I won't lie, I was agreeing. I'm like, yeah, girl, like, what is she doing? And
now it all comes full.
I see what she was doing there. I get it now.
Circle. Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Oh.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a drive. But I was really, I think I'm professional. But I was also being honest in my interview, and then she asked me about like pay range, and I'm like, well, I saw you had a starting rate of this and that, but also like I'm traveling to get here, and I think I have customer service skills. So like I gave her the pay range that I wanted, and she gave me on the like ladder or the higher end of what I was asking for too. Which again, it's not. I'm not a manager. Like it's a lot less than what I came from in pay, but still for what I was asking for and what I knew was in the range for that position, like it's a blessing that I got what I got. So
and God put it on you to stand up for yourself with your pay.
Yes. And I know too, like she was even telling me like it's a learning curve from being or working in retail. Like I know it's gonna be a learning curve for me, but I let her know too. Like I spent the night before like studying, looking at acronyms for just like medical acronyms, and it's a long list, and I only remember the simplest ones now. But I'm like, one thing that I will do, and that like makes me stand out, I will study whatever I need to study. I'll learn what I need to learn, and I'll spend my time doing that. So I think she saw that I was serious about the position, and I got hired. So it's kind of like my little desk job that I wanted. I don't have an exact like cubicle section, but I'm finally doing something different, and we'll see where this takes me.
I am just in utter shock. And just like, I don't know, you always talked about how I was the one to want to jump off of a cliff.
I've never been the one.
But what is happening that you're jumping?
Let me tell you what's happening, because I've done some self... Who am I?
You done some
I had a
self-reflection?
week to do some self-reflection, and I really think so when I first moved out, about 3 years ago, probably 4 now, whatever. When I first moved out of my parents' home, my first year on my own was hell. I don't know, I really don't even want to use those words, but like, I don't know what else to call it, but it really brought me closer to God and to myself, honestly. I didn't have like consistent help with anything, as I talked about with you before. And on top of that, my home life being crazy, when I went to work, it was my first time being a manager, and I had a boss that like showed no mercy. So I went through so much my first year being alone, and I really think I'm running from that now. And I don't like, it sounds bad because you don't want to, at this point, I think with this job, I really am, I know it's going to be a learning curve. What I'm preparing for is facing, what is the word? I am ready to face like being challenged, because usually I would get emotional about certain things. So I can't say, because God sometimes throws a curveball in there for me, but I think this job is going to prepare me to be comfortable, because again, I don't, like you were saying, I don't want to keep leaving jobs. Like I don't want to do that. So if I have to deal with the emotions that come with being challenged, I'm ready to do that this time.
You want to say I agree, and I feel like I talked about this too before, where being a nurse, like that first year I had working the PM shift 5 days a week, 1 day off at a time, it made me overly protect myself, because I just never felt like I had, like it was a true definition of not having work-life balance. Like I had no work-life balance. I was miserable. I just never felt like I was at home and I was off. And I always felt like if I had a moment to do nothing, I had to sit there and stare at a wall and have an existential crisis. Like I never felt happy. And so then now that I'm not doing that job, I found myself compensating by falling into laziness constantly. And that's my new way of compensating, where like if I have a moment to do nothing, that's absolutely what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay here, and I'm going to lay down, and I'm going to do nothing, and I'm going to sleep in. But it's become an overcompensation that's now, I need to come out of that. And
Same with me too. With finally having these little breaks that I haven't had for the past like 7 years, I find myself like staying in and not doing much. But I want it, like
it's a balance. You need to do that a little bit.
My body, wants to rest, but mentally, like I don't want to. It's good to face like your thoughts and your problems and your concerns, or even it's good to just think and have time for self-reflection. But also sometimes you do need to get out of the house, because you can get stuck in your thoughts. And I I just need to find a balance with that because I'm still like trying to soak in because I don't know when the next time I'm gonna have like a huge break.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to soak it in, but I also don't. Like, again, because I know that I don't know when I'm going to have my next break, I need to spend time, like, out and really, like, enjoying things. Whether it's, like, a farmer's market, it could just...
The thing about God that, like, it speaks to me, like, I know people become obsessed with, like, different pastors and people they speak to, but now being in it for, like, years now and, like, discerning different people and different pastors, like, I am just so obsessed with Stephanie Ike Okafor, I'm not gonna lie. And one thing she pointed out that of what you were saying is how you can get lost in your thoughts.
Yeah.
And you really have to discern, and I'm in the middle of this and I'm struggling with it,
Yeah.
whether your thoughts came from yourself and your own idols and what you idol. But and that's what she was saying. Sometimes if you question is a thought from yourself or from God, you have to question what your own idols are and like say like, okay, like for me, like, well, I really feel tired and I want to sleep in. I think but God told me to wake up early, so I don't think He would tell me to sleep in. And honestly, I idolize sleep more than I idolize God, because if God were to tell me to get out of this bed right now, I would be very upset, because little things like that where when you question, is it God telling me this, or is it me telling me this, or is it the enemy telling me this? If it's in a negative thought, like what you were saying, like the negative things, you know it's immediately the enemy, and you need to just kick that thought out. Anything negative, like condemnation, negative self-talk, the enemy's planting it in your brain, and he's trying to see how you're going to react to it. But then other things, it's like, okay, did God really tell me to do this? What are you idling? What would you tell yourself, as opposed to, does this align with God's word? What is He really telling you to do? But that negative self-talk thing, I'm really working on that too, where it's like when you have a negative thought, to just like kick it out of your brain.
Yeah.
Immediately, anything, because God would never tell you anything.
That's
His correction comes, and you feel a correction from God. When God is like, Taylor, when you scrolling TikTok, you can feel when God's like, what did I tell you to do? And you're like, okay, God, I got you. But it doesn't feel like condemnation. It feels like a loving Father being like, girl, if you would just open up your Bible, I'm trying to tell you something. It's a lovely little reminder, but you know when the enemy's like, you might as well just not even talk to God for the rest of the day, because you've been scrolling on TikTok for the last hour. He doesn't even want to hear from you now. So go ahead and keep scrolling TikTok. Like, God would never say that.
Yeah, with this job, I'm like, okay, it's not gonna work out. Like, I'm gonna end up not liking this too. Like, Taylor, just be prepared for the worst. Just little things that go through my head, or like, you're gonna be stuck in this position forever. Like, you're gonna be living here forever. Things like that. Like, I just really have to get out of my head, because everybody has such a bright future, and you just have to let go of those things.
And honestly, you already made the decision at this point, so it's just like speaking to God and being like, okay, God, even if this was or was not the right choice, how are you going to use this to my good? Still wondering, how did we get here?
Yes.
So yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining today.
We'll see you in our next video.
Bye.